Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing the Benavidez versus Gvozdyk breakdown and prediction video as reigning undefeated WBC interim super middleweight champion and former two-time super middleweight champion David Benavidez returns to battle the former light heavyweight champion of the world Oleksandr Gvozdyk, as they will compete for the vacant WBC light heavyweight title on June 15th as the co-feature / double main event to Tank Davis and Frank Martin, as they will fight on Amazon Prime pay-per-view. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So, if you have never seen my breakdown videos before, I break down the fight in full. I talk about what the fight means, how big it is, all that, and then I discuss each fighter individually. In a fight like this, a vacant interim title on the line, you go with the favorite and then the underdog. So in this case, David Benavidez, will discuss him first. Oleksandr Gvozdyk will go second. I ask the same questions on both sides. Then I ask the final thing, and then I give my prediction on the fight. So this fight coming in, I'm gonna call it right now. Do not sleep on the nail, Oleksandr Gvozdyk. Okay, don't sleep on him. This is a huge fight. Just because you don't know Gvozdyk's name, do not sleep on him. Remember what happened just last weekend, May 18th on ESPN. Denis Berinchyk defeated Emmanuel Navarrete. Now I know Navarrete is his fourth weight class he was moving up into. I totally understand that. Okay? Totally understand that. But Berinchyk had a great amateur background. He's an Olympian from the 2012 Ukrainian team, and he pulled off the upset over Navarrete. Here's where that is significant. Oleksandr Gvozdyk was on that same 2012 team, Olympic team. He is a silver medalist. He was on the team with Oleksandr Usyk and Vasily Lomachenko. Gvozdyk is very, very fucking good. This guy, when he was at his peak, he knocked out and ended the career of Adonis Superman Stevenson. That's how he captured the WBC light heavyweight title years ago. His only loss came against Artur Beterbiev, who is the reigning and unified light heavyweight champion right now. Gvozdyk was beating him on 2 of the 3 cards heading into the 10th round when Beterbiev stopped him. Gvozdyk retired after that, went to go do other stuff, and just recently came back. But Oleksandr Gvozdyk, if he still has any of that magic, and as these Ukrainians are showing us, that even at this older age, and all of them are, Berinchyk, Usyk, Vasily Lomachenko, and Gvozdyk are all between the ages of 35 and 37. And they are all fighting at a top level. So this, Gvozdyk is a big opponent. And to me, I have to hand it to David Benavidez for his opponent selection here, because Gvozdyk is fucking dangerous. And on paper, and I've been watching David Benavidez since he became a name. This on paper is the toughest opponent I've ever witnessed him fight. Caleb Plant, I was fully confident David was going to win that fight outright, no doubt. Demetrius Andrade, same thing. And I even said David was going to knock him out. Anthony Durrell, I thought he was going to overwhelm Durrell, and he did. Okay, those are the 3 toughest opponents that Benavidez has ever fought. And I think Gvozdyk is better than all 3 of those guys, even now. So please do not sleep on this fight and sleep on Oleksandr Gvozdyk. Okay, do not do that. Now, height and reach, they are the same height. They're both 6'2". Reach goes to Gvozdyk by an inch. He's got only an inch reach advantage. So that's significant. Age difference, that's the big one here. 10-year age difference. David Benavidez is only 27. Oleksandr Gvozdyk is 37. So that could play a big role. Also, David Benavidez gains a shit ton of weight in between fights. So we're going to see. But Benavidez coming into this fight is it's his debut at light heavyweight, a division we wanted to see him fight in because we know he struggles making 168. So now he's filling into a more comfortable weight of 175. Going to be interesting to see how he does that. So let's get into each fighter individually. We start with the reigning undefeated, former 2-time super middleweight world champion, current interim super middleweight champion, David Benavidez. We look at his last 3 fights date back to 2022 when he defeated, God, what was the guy's name? David Lemieux, the former middleweight champ. I wasn't surprised at that when they fought. That was when he won the interim title, and he absolutely dominated Lemieux easily to retain his, to stay undefeated that night. It was a 3rd round stoppage win. Then he returned last year in March and took on Caleb Plant, putting the interim title on the line. And first half of the fight was somewhat competitive, but then David took over in the second half of the fight and just overwhelmed, beat up and bloodied Plant, and got a 12-round unanimous decision win. And then November, he squared off against undefeated Demetrius Andrade and dominated Andrade, stopping him in 6 rounds to secure what is recognized as the biggest win of his career to that point. So he's hungry. He's pissed off that he's not getting the Canelo fight, and he should be, because he deserved it. And he's looking to maybe corner Canelo at 175. If Canelo's goal is to potentially move up and fight the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol, then this might be the way to do it. This might be the way to get him eventually in the ring, or just to establish himself at 175 as a serious threat, because whoever comes out of that one as the winner will probably end up fighting David if David wins this fight against Gvozdyk. So David is hungry, but what does he need to do to win this fight? One, he needs to not overlook Oleksandr Gvozdyk. I mean, that's got to be primal. His primary concern is that. He needs to come in really good shape. Well conditioning and be ready to fight 12 hard rounds. Needs to be able to cut off the ring and use his jab as well, jab for jab. I definitely think, and he needs to, again, the conditioning, so he can try to outwork the older fighter, body attack, wear him down. That's what he needs to do to try to win this fight. Now, can David Benavidez win this fight by knockout? I think David's power at 175 might be better than it was at 168 because he's not shedding that extra 7 pounds now. So, his power, I think he's going to carry it up. Do I think he can win by knockout? Yes. What I'm trying to say about his power, he might have more one-punch type power at 175. I still think overwhelming his opponents is the more key to a knockout victory for him. But I do believe, again, he's going to be stronger at 175. Now, can he win a decision? That's going to be tough. I do believe he can win a decision, but if he wins a decision, it might be close. But then again, he might overwhelm him just like he did Caleb Plant. So it could be one of those two, or somewhere in the middle. But I believe Gvozdyk is such a technical fighter that it might be tough to win a decision over Gvozdyk. Now, what's more likely for Benavidez if he pulls off a victory here over Gvozdyk? What's more likely? I'm leaning more towards knockout is more likely. Even though Benavidez, I mean, he's a knockout artist, but he has gone the distance before against good fighters. And Caleb Plant's, noteworthy of that. But Benavidez more knocks his opponents out. I think his accumulation could be the key here. And I think a knockout for Benavidez, if he beats Gvozdyk, is more likely than a decision. Now, what does a win mean here for David Benavidez? It means a lot. It solidifies him at 175 as a serious player, especially going after a guy that some would already call the number 3 light heavyweight in the world right now behind Gvozdyk, or behind Beterbiev and Bivol. Again, Gvozdyk is a very serious fighter. So a win here means a lot for him heading in the future. It really does. What does a loss mean for David Benavidez? Depending on how he loses, a loss would definitely hurt him. It definitely would. It would set him back. I don't think unless he, well, let me put it this way. If he goes out there and were to get his ass whipped against Gvozdyk, that would hurt him a lot. If he loses like a close decision, I don't think it's going to hurt him as much because Gvozdyk is a dangerous and very good fighter. So I think a lot of the boxing world is going to know that. And that's why I think a loss, it's going to hurt him. I just don't know how bad. Actually, you want my full transparency? If he loses to Gvozdyk, Canelo might fight him. I mean, I think Canelo's avoiding him too. I do. Just because I talk shit about David and pick him apart about not fighting David Morrell and shit like that, doesn't mean I don't think Canelo's ducking David. I called it. If Canelo doesn't fight David this year, he's ducking him. He's not fighting him this year, so Canelo's ducking him. But a loss, if David were to lose to Gvozdyk, Canelo might fight him. So we'll see. What does, now we switch over to the challenger, the former WBC light heavyweight world champion, Oleksandr Gvozdyk, and let's break him down. His last 3 fights now, let's take a look. One sec. They date back to February of last year, 2023, where he made his return after what was a little over 3 years, it was about a 3.5 year layoff. It was almost 3.5 years he had since the loss to Arthur Beterbiev when he lost the WBC title as they unified belts that night. Now, in that one, he beat a guy with a losing record by a 6-round unanimous decision. Then he returned against a, little-known guy named Richard Bolotniks, and dominated him to a 6-round TKO. And then he took on a little bit more prominent opponent in Isaac Rodriguez and stopped him in only 2 rounds. So Gvozdyk seems to have his feet back under him and he's ready to go. Again, 37 years old though. How much mileage does he have? Good solid mileage. He hasn't fought, very much. But the last year he put in some rounds. He did. He's fought 14 rounds in just over a year, 3 fights. So he has been nonstop training. And again, the Ukraine right now, to fight and represent the Ukraine is a big deal. Vasily Lomachenko fired up, got the knockout victory over George Kambosos Jr. in Australia. Then followed that up, you had Dennis Beryanchuk pulled off the upset over Navarrete last week by a decision to capture the lightweight title. Oleksandr Gvozdyk defeated Tyson Fury to become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. The Ukrainian fighters have something to fight for. and Gvozdyk can only be nothing but confident and pumped up and fired up and ready to go to represent the Ukraine as he heads into this fight with David Benavidez. So I think he's hungry as hell. I think Gvozdyk is loving the fact that nobody's talking about him as a serious threat. He is a serious threat, and I think he's ready for this fight. And I'm very much so looking forward to seeing how ready he is. Now, what kind of fight does Gvozdyk need to have in order to beat David Benavidez? And I think Gvozdyk needs to have a body attack himself. He needs to be in fantastic shape because he's 10 years the senior. And he does not need to sit there and allow David Benavidez to walk him down and break the body down. I think Gvozdyk needs to fight Benavidez much the way Bivol fought Canelo. When Benavidez gets ready to throw the combinations and attack the body, he needs to throw a 1-2-3 punch to the head of Benavidez, and then to the body. Go to the head and then the body, and then the head. And then use the angles. He's a very smart, very crafty boxer. He knows how to do that. I think if he does that, he might have a real chance of pulling off this upset. Now, can Gvozdyk win this fight by knockout? You know, Gvozdyk's 20-1 with 16 knockouts. That dude got some pop. He does have some pop. He's one of those guys that has timing. That's what makes him strong. His timing used to be fantastic. I mean, I'll tell you that right now. I saw him knock out Adonis Superman Stevenson, brutally knock him out. Stevenson ended Stevenson's career. Stevenson had brain damage, was in a coma because of the beating he took against Gvozdyk. And then he also stopped Yunieski Gonzalez, who's proven to be a tough fighter over the years, stopped him in only 3 rounds, or 4 rounds. Oleksandr Gvozdyk got some pop. He can hit. Do I think he can win by knockout? Yes. I think he has a chance of winning this fight by knockout. I do. Now, can Gvozdyk win this fight by a decision? I do believe he can win a decision as well. I do believe that's possible. Now, what's more likely if Gvozdyk were to pull off the upset in the victory over Benavidez? A knockout win or a decision win? I think it's more likely he wins a decision over David Benavidez, but a knockout would not surprise me. What does a win mean for Oleksandr Gvozdyk here? It means everything. A victory over David Benavidez, where Benavidez is now, the guy that Canelo's running from, if Gvozdyk were to come out and beat him, especially, I mean, the Ukrainian 4 right there, the 4 horsemen, that's what they would be. And that would be a huge boxing story. He'd be right in line for the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol for the undisputed title. You know, I mean, and only big fights after that for the next couple of years. So, I mean, this would be the biggest victory of his career, and it would definitely set him apart and would be monstrous for him. So, a win here would be huge for Oleksandr Gvozdyk. What does a loss mean for Oleksandr Gvozdyk in this one? A loss would definitely hurt, you know, but it would depend on how he loses. If he goes out and gets his ass whipped, you know, I don't think many people are going to be surprised by that. But Gvozdyk, like a similar loss that he had, if he gets knocked out, let's just say that, even if he's winning the fight like he did against Beterbiev and he gets knocked out against Benavidez, I think because he's retired before, he might just say, all right, I'm done. I got my big fight. I took my chance. I lost. I'm done. You know, and I think that'd be fine. But if he goes out there and like loses a close decision to where there may be even some controversy, I think he might continue. So he really needs to look at this one as he almost has nothing to lose and go for broke. Because again, nobody's really expecting him to win this fight, which is a mistake, but that's the fact. Not a lot of people are picking him to win this fight or think he's going to win or even talking about him to win this fight, which I think is very interesting. So, Is it better for boxing if David Benavidez wins this fight or if Oleksandr Gvozdyk wins this fight? Well, overall, it's definitely better for boxing if David Benavidez wins this fight. Overall, he's undefeated. We still don't know how good he is. He established himself at 175, and then people keep talking, fans, experts, everybody keeps talking about Canelo running from him. That stays the narrative. And it keeps him on Canelo's heels. That's if he wins. You know, it keeps his name on everybody's mouth. Now he's in a new division trying to take over a new division, which would be huge. But with the Ukrainian three right now, Usyk, Loma, and Berianchik, all being world champions, and all from the same Olympic team, it's a beautiful story for boxing and for the world of sports to see a foursome from the Ukraine that won Olympic gold medals, or well, we're Olympians together. Not all of them won gold medals. We're Olympians together to all secure major victories all within a month and a half of each other. And then for them to all be, you know, on everybody's tongues, that would be huge for boxing. So it would be a nice story. But overall, top to bottom, it's better for boxing if Benavidez wins this fight. Now, what's my prediction on this fight? I'll be honest with you guys. This is not an easy fight for me to pick. Not even at all. And if you guys think it should be easy, you're tripping. Even if it ends up being a blowout win, you guys don't know a lot about boxing if you're discounting Oleksandr Gvozdyk and his chances here. But David Benavidez, again, the one thing that's speaking true to me is the same thing that was an issue in the fight with John Ryder and Jaime Munguia, is I think the youth might be just too much. And I think Benavidez's style is built to overwhelm a guy like Gvozdyk, who was overwhelmed by Beterbiev before when he was younger. And that ended up being the key to the victory, was that. Now, I am predicting David Benavidez is going to win this fight by stoppage in the late rounds. But I think Gvozdyk has a very real chance of pulling off the victory. I think it's going to be a competitive-ass fight until that stoppage. I wouldn't be surprised if Gvozdyk is winning. I wouldn't be surprised if Gvozdyk beats Benavidez, if he knocks him out. This fight could be a major upset. So that's it. Benavidez by late stoppage, but I really like Gvozdyk's chances here, stylistically and everything. So that's it. That's what I got. That's my Benavidez versus Gvozdyk breakdown and prediction video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.